Hello everyone and welcome to what is probably going to be a two video exercise here. This is called Timeline. As I mentioned last week, we're going to expand upon the movie clip exercise that we did in order to start thinking about a more complex and complete set of scenes, how to work with the timeline in order to create more robust, sort of more complete movie. As you can tell, looking at week 5, there is a Project One being introduced. It's going to be due in 2 weeks. And we're sort of setting up for it with this exercise. This exercise is an expansion of your movieclip.fla, and will be sort of handed in as a sort of a separate document. We're going to be taking what we did in movieclip.fla and making a new movie out of it. Basically putting some backgrounds in, thinking about how to use scenes, working with some new properties. So really doing a lot to this file to create, again, a more robust movie clip, or sorry, a more robust full movie. A side note, I mentioned last week that I never want .fla files. Somehow I got more .fla files this week than usual. Remember, you are always handing in SWIFs. You get a SWIF not by naming it or typing in SWIF ever. You're going to just test your movie in Flash like this. When you test your movie, it creates a .swift file in the folder that you have the .fla file. That is what you hand in. Don't ever type in .fla, don't ever type in .swift. These are things that are sort of added to your file, much like docx is added to a Word document. So if you're having any troubles with this, please be in touch with me. Again, I have several .fla files. I wrote on D2L when I graded those exercises to please get me Swift files. Again, any trouble, get back to me. So I'm going to head into this. Like I said, I'm pretty sure this is a 2 video exercise because it's pretty lengthy. And I'm going to go through probably the first part or part and a half in terms of the step-by-step. It says open your file from last week. This is my movie clip from last week. It says insert a new symbol. What we're going to be doing is creating a background with this symbol. And we're going back to the very, very simple idea of a graphic. I'm going to introduce a few things with this portion of the exercise, so just follow along. So it says name this background, name that background, and we want this to be a graphic. It's a background. It's going to be pretty simple. So I'm going to hit OK. As I do that, I'm going to hop over into the library. Okay, here I have background now. This is sort of a blank canvas. And it says on step 4, choose the rectangle tool. So I'm going to choose the rectangle tool. And next it says click on the stroke color. So the white box with the red stripe is through it. That's our no stroke. And then choose the fill box at the bottom, and we're going to choose a shade of green. We're just making a simple kind of ground for this. Okay. Now it says using the info panel, window info, and we'll sort of get this guy up. Get him over here so we can see it. Size with the free transform tool. Oh, sorry, step 6, it says click and hold and draw a rectangle with the tool. So I'm going to just click this and draw a rectangle. Now it says use the black selection tool. Sorry, I'm still on step 6. We're going to click on that. What we basically need to do is sort of size this thing. I bring up this window info panel because it gives us a good idea of how big whatever the sort of graphic is that we made. It says with the free transform tool, size the green rectangle so it's at least 575 pixels wide. Okay, so I select it and then I choose the free transform tool, and I want you to watch over here. We have our height and width. This X and Y is a positioning. It's positioned on the stage here. We're in the library. We're concerned about this width. So I'm going to pull this, and you'll see as I pull it, the width there changes. So at least 575. So I'll make that a little bigger. It's 580. Okay, that is perfectly fine. Okay. Now, it says use a combination of the selection tool and eraser tool to erase portions of the top to create a simple horizon. Okay, so I'm going to go in and I'm just sort of introducing some tools, and I'm going to show you some quick ways to do this. First of all, I'm going to erase. Let's just draw. We're creating a simple horizon. I can use the black selection tool now and grab that. Okay. Now it says draw a simple tree coming out of the grass. Okay. Step 9, choose the paintbrush tool. And we're going to choose just a brownish color. Make this paintbrush a little bit larger. Again, I'm hopefully teaching the concept. It is up to you to sort of concentrate on the aesthetics as we move into the portion that this sort of relates to Project One. So I'm doing something fairly quickly. Next, it says, choose the oval tool and draw a yellow sun in the sky. Okay, so I'm just throwing down some very, very basic shapes here. Okay. Note that you could do something with the layers. You could put this on a layer and you could have the sun sort of poking out over the horizon. That can be done very, very easily. Let's actually do that. Put this, poke that. Now, if we change the size there, we have sort of the sun coming up. Okay. Now, that's just the drawing. We're drawing this thing. I know it's about 575 wide. That's going to fit nicely on my scene. So step 12 says click on scene 1 in the top left. Okay. Let me get my timeline in order. And it says insert a new layer and call it background. Okay, we have all these layers here. We want to sort of make sure that we delineate what's what. All these other ones were the birds flying, if you remember. And I'm going to insert a new background or a new layer, and I'm going to call it background. The great thing about, and I'll show you here in a second, about already having sort of a movie sort of set down here is you'll see that that background layer gets inserted frames all the way to the last keyframe in the movie. Okay, it sees that our movie is 150 frames long, and it says, rightfully so, hey, do we want background or do we want this new layer to sort of extend all the way out to that last part? And that is true. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in here. And it says pull the layer background so it's below the other layers. It's a background, so we want it in the back. I'm going to sort of pull this all the way down, and it is now on the background. You'll see that those frames still extend out to 150, which is good. And it says make sure you are on the first frame of the background layer and take the graphic from the library called background and drop it down onto the stage. This is step 15 in the first portion of this. So I'm going to click right here. Okay, I'm going to make sure I'm on that frame. I'm going to grab this and I'm going to drop it right down. Okay, now I can position this thing, and when I position it, there's no tween or anything, so it should stay kind of where it is. Okay, throughout that entire that entire set of frames. Okay, so I'm going to click save, and as I was talking before, let's test this movie. Okay, it's a stable background. It's something that's going to stay in the entire scene. Okay. So for simple backgrounds that sort of stay put, meaning that they don't move around, they don't zoom in. You can zoom in to sort of create the illusion of a zoom, like a cinematic sort of thing. We're going to do that actually next week. I'm going to short exercise prior to you guys moving into Project One, but this is a static, simple background. Okay, I'm going to close that out. Now, I'm going to head into this next portion, which is creating a new scene. And we'll probably get about halfway through it before I have to stop the video. What I want to do with this sort of creating the scene is sort of introduce the idea or sort of talk about why. You'll see over here where we have the little movie clapper thing, we have scene 1. You rarely are going to have a movie, even in your Project One, which is going to be 30 seconds long, that is one scene. You know, we have 150 frames here, 6 seconds or so of a movie. You're going to want to break things up in terms of organizing. We organize via layers, and we're likely going to want to organize via scenes. The easiest way to think about scenes might be actual different scenes in your movie. If we think about a movie, we cut from scene to scene. We create time. We sort of move to different spaces. It sets a tone depending on what kind of background we have. Cutting to a new new scene is going to create a lot of sort of difference and sort of help our narrative move along. So we want to sort of separate things into scenes in Flash. Okay, so if I were making a movie here, this might be the first few seconds of it. Like I said, 6 or 7 seconds, and then we're going to cut to a new scene. The good thing about this is it makes your sort of it gives you kind of a new timeline that's blank, and you don't get into sort of too much complexities with the layers that you have going on in the original scene. So it says step 17. Let's just head into it. Choose insert new scene. Insert scene. And you'll see that I just pop over and I now have scene 2. It looks like my movie went away. It looks like I sort of got rid of something, but no. Over here now, I can sort of pop over to scene 1 and I can pop over to scene 2. I have a clean slate, okay? This is what this is sort of one of the main tenets of this exercise, and it allows us the opportunity to sort of again sort of organize, move things around, and sort of section things off into smaller bites. Okay, again, you don't want a scene that's got 1,200 frames. That's a little unwieldy. Tweens start to affect each other. Things start to get in the way of each other. So setting up these different scenes is going to be a very, very helpful way to organize your movie. So it says choose insert new symbol, name it water background. We're just basically making a new scene. And so I'm going to call this water background. We're going to sort of cut from the birds flying over the ground to the birds flying over some water. Okay, so I'm going to go water background. Choose the rectangle tool. We're doing something very similar as to what we did last time. Choose the bottom, shade of blue, click and hold and draw a rectangle. We're going to sort of do the same thing here. I'll just draw this. Step 23, using the info panel, size with the free transform, so it's at least 575. We'll do something similar here. Okay. Using a combination of the selection tool and the eraser, we're just sort of creating a waved portion. Use the eraser, and we'll do some more dramatic waves. Create a simple horizon. Step 25, choose the oval tool, and we'll keep that sun in the scene. Maybe the sun has risen a little bit. Okay. Now it says click on scene 2 at the left. Okay. And it says insert a new layer. We'll just sort of actually use this layer, and we'll call it water background. I'm going to keep things organized. And we're going to position this at the bottom. Please note that these are vector graphics. We can size these things. You know, if we were to use the free transform tool here, we can size these things up. That's not a big deal. I like to make them the size that they ought to be on the stage, just to sort of start with a decent size measurement and sort of go from there. But we now have this sort of set up for the last step, which is where I'm going to sort of cut to the next video. So it says position and potentially size the graphic. That's step 29. I sort of positioned it, and then it says insert a frame on the layer water background at 160. This is where we're going to sort of pull this out. I'm setting up for the fact that we're going to sort of do some tweens and sort of get the second scene involving the bird movie clip that we made. Okay, so I'm going to stop it right here and sort of step forward with the last portion of this, which is using alpha with the movie clip, altering the path. We're going to sort of do a couple things to our old flying bird. So I'll see you in timeline part 2.